Hello, Trevor Cutmore. So, goals. What goals have you got? Well, we're not actually talking about goals. I'm just in the garden and we've got a goal here. Look, question is, can't pay, won't pay. Your tenants. Let's talk about that. Hi, so can't pay, won't pay. Look, going into property investment is great. You can make a lot of money through it. It can look after your life, great retirement, and even better, it's a great legacy for our families when we depart from this earth. However, what's happening at the minute is where tenants are coming into the properties where they've been. You know, with COVID and everything, you can't evict them. Okay, and even now 6 months notice, so that does mean that under an AST, obviously if someone comes in, they stop paying within the first 1 or 2 months, you can't do anything, and you are then caught in this horrible place where you can go on and on, which really you could be almost having a tenant living in your property for up nearly a year before you can take possession of it. It's a bit open-ended and we still don't know what's going to happen, but I have heard that some court dates are still being booked for December 2021 for what's going on right now. How do you get rid of tenants who can't pay, won't pay? Because there are certainly tenants out there who will play the system. There's certain other ones which just can't pay anyway, and you know, the support that they're getting through furlough, then they're going to have to go on to perhaps universal credit or some sort of benefit to pay that rent. And is that enough to keep everything else going that they've got in the family? Who knows, maybe not. But the thing is, and look, I've been had property for many years now, and I've had people say I can't pay the rent because I've got to fix my car. I can't pay rent because I've got another bill that's come in. I can't pay the rent because I had to buy a new television. All these things, people don't look at rent sometimes as the most important thing, and the perception that landlords have lots of money so you can afford it anyway, stuff you and on you go. Whichever the way is, like, there are some people, like I said, who are completely innocent in the way that they've found themselves where they've had a lot of responsibility financially, and then all of a sudden they've lost their job, and sometimes two incomes coming into one family. If they're both lost or losing their jobs, it could be a really difficult thing. So you need to make a judgment, but what do you do? Well, interesting. Section 21, Section 8. Section 21, which was under review, still under review, is a no fault notice that you would serve on a tenant, and you would ask them to go within a period of time, and away they go. Section 8 is a fault notice, and that would be served if they've done something, if they're in arrears of 8 weeks of arrears of their rent, and you would serve that. But again, those notices could no effect on several fronts. One is that the government did stop and say you can't serve notice, and now it's a 6-month notice anyway. But the other thing is, if you haven't got your paperwork right, those tenants have the right to stay. So look, there's a whole list of things you have to give them: the EPC, the gas certificate, the electric certificate, the right to rent, how to rent booklet. You have to do the right to rent checks and all these things. And if you've given them the wrong how to rent booklet, because there's different editions, if you've given the wrong one and you finally get the court to evict them, and the judge says, well, hang on a minute, you've given the wrong edition, chuck it out, off you go, cancel this, start again, and you've got to go back again and get another court date, and it's you who's not getting the money. So what do? There are ways to do it. If you want to know some of that, then contact me, ask the questions, and if you've got other ideas of how to resolve with tenants who are not paying, listen, message me. I'd love to hear what your ideas on resolving it. Look, one of the major ways is communication. Without a doubt, if you can communicate with a tenant, you can overcome so many things. All right. However, you must be careful. You do not have the right to start banging on the door and say, pay me the rent, you so and so, so and so. All right. You don't have that right. You have to give them written warning. 24 hours before that they've received that written notice that you're going to go and visit the property anyway, to inspect the property. You're allowed to do so many contacts with them, no more than one a day, but in different varieties, and you need to take professional advice on that. Now the NRLA are very good. Look at that, you'll learn a lot from being a member of there. However, get it wrong and harass the tenant. I still remember one case, the landlord had to pay the tenant £90,000 in compensation for harassment. You do not want to get involved in that, so you've got to do this the right way. And you're saying, but Trevor, my tenants aren't paying, and they, you know, things are breaking, they keep saying you've got to fix this, you've got to fix that. That's a great question. You say, so this is the UK law around the Rent Act. Regardless if the tenants are paying or non-paying, your responsibility is to keep that property in a fit state for human habitation. Has to be. So if the boiler breaks and they're not paying rent, you have to fix it. You have no way out, and if you don't, you're in error and you will not be looked upon, because that's what the law states. Now, if it's a wonky handle on the door, okay, it's not a great thing, you could get away, you know, COVID, look, we'll fix it afterwards. But if it's anything major, any pipe work, electrical problems, let's say a socket's been broken accidentally, or it's come off the wall or something, that needs to be done, and you need to pay for that and get it done immediately. You cannot use the argument, well, they're not paying me, I haven't got the money, or I can't afford to do it. Sorry, there's no way out. You have to pay and get it fixed. If you want to know more, write to me, let me know, and we'll see if we can do a few more of these videos about that. But listen, can't pay, won't pay. What are you going to do? The people who choose not to pay, remember, I've said it before, when we come out of this, when you're doing your referencing, and that's how you do the right to rent checks on them, you should be paying for it. Please don't do a judgment, oh, he seems like a nice bloke, yeah, sign here and away we go. You need to get all of the ID and everything and do it the right way. Do that properly, get the referencing. If they're not passing the referencing for multiple reasons, it might fail, but find out what that is. If they just short, maybe it's nothing bad, and you still think, well, they're still a nice person, don't risk it. You go for a guarantor every single time, because if they stop paying, then guess what? The guarantor usually has a job over £30,000, and this is the important thing, they own their own property. Because if those tenants, and if your tenants are like that, and I think, I'm going to predict that more landlords are going to ask for a guarantor for tenants across the board. It really costs you about £23–25 for referencing. It's a contract that you print out when you belong to this organisation you have. The guarantor will sign it, and guess what? If your tenant then thinks that they can play games and not pay the rent for whatever reason, you go to the guarantor, and let's say the guarantor's lost their job, no problem. You do the charge with money claim online, £100, you get the judgment because they can't argue it, you've got the contract, and you slap a charging order on their property or on their salary, whichever way it goes. So you're much more secure in getting that. And I promise you, if you're going after the guarantor can go and harass that tenant, because they're the guarantor, they're the ones who can get hold and say, pay the rent, pay the rent. That's what they can do. You and I can't do that. You might feel like it, but you cannot do it. So guarantor is a way to go. If you want to know more, let me know. I'd love to hear your comments and what you are doing in this time. Listen, I've got webinars coming up, watch out for that. Wednesday night, come on to Cashflow-Freedom Facebook group with Leslie Town and Trevor Cutmore. We're there Wednesday nights, 8 o'clock. And this week, I think, this Wednesday, we've got something, a webinar on buying at auction houses. It is great. It's going to be a great free webinar, only 100 spaces. Book as soon as you can. Have a great weekend. God bless you. Bye-bye.